Hello, hello, community. Okay, let me wait a couple of 1 minute more, and we can start. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to this meeting. This is the third meeting, okay, about the BeeAI community. In this meeting, we are going to address something that we are discussing for the last 3-4 weeks, that is this ACP. And first, thank you to all of you, to all the community. You can see we are here in your town with the rest of the team, okay, the BI team, okay. We are in this moment to figure out what is the next steps for the platform that we are building, that is this BeeAI platform, the frameworks, and obviously the ACP that are going to be the main core of the discussion today. Let me open or share with you some of the concepts and ideas that we are going to chat today. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, the main goal for today is, like I said, is talk about the ACP. Again, is thank you to all of you for all the contributions for the past 3 weeks. Was great to have a lot of feedback, a lot of ideas, a lot of discussion, no, about what is the directions or what is the key things that we want to pay attention. When I say we, like all this community. For us, from the BeeAI team, obviously, the idea was to start to take all your ideas, concepts, start to make some proof of concepts, some implementation, some alpha version of the ideas, and implement that ideas in our platform. Okay, to facilitate methods or mechanisms to test and play with these ideas. To start for exactly the initial point about the what is the status of the BeeAI and the concept that we just implemented, like a alpha version of all of these concepts about ACP. Let me invite Matosh to participate in the discussion. Okay, I think that you can share your screen side by side with me. Don't worry.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Yes. So as Isma said, we just released this kind of a early draft of the alpha version of the ACP. So I encourage everyone to look at it and give us feedback and GitHub discussions or in the Discord. If you actually go to our documentation on the docs.bei.dev, you will see there is this new section called Core Concepts. In the overview, you will see what actually ACP and Alpha supports and what's the current status. So we spend a lot of time discussing, in the team and with the community, how to do agent discovery. So there is we form some opinion on what are the metadata users, developers want to, and consumers of agents want to expose about agents. I will show you example of that in a couple of seconds. So agent discovery is a capability of the ACP. Agent statefulness, that's something what we saw a lot of people wanted to have the ability to write stateless agents, but as well as stateful. So that's also supported. I will show you an example of that as well in a couple of seconds. Agent configuration is something that's still a work in progress. We are also looking into how the agents can support different modalities in terms of agent consuming images at the input, or agent producing artifacts and as the output. So there is a kind of a message structure definition in the ACP that allows you to do those things. Also, we support asynchronous requests. That means if you need to talk to the agent and you cannot wait for the response, you can use these asynchronous concepts in terms of you get the ID of the run and you can come back later and collect the results of the run. We introduced a new concept, not really new concept, but new naming, which we called awaits, which is the same thing as the human in the loop, function calling, or interrupts. The naming is not final, so encourage everyone to tell us what they think about. The name pretty much await expresses the need for the agent to stop the execution because it doesn't have enough data or needs some action from the external party, right? So definitely let us know what you think about the naming. The other thing what the ACP kind of resolved is, given that we started the pre-alpha version of the ACP was built on MCP, we went with the JSON RPC, but we broke free from that, and now ACP is actually a typical HTTP REST request, and I will show that as well. And if you need the agent to support streaming, we went away through the SSE, so server-sent events. So that's kind of in a nutshell, what are the capabilities of the agents. There are some design principles we are trying to follow. The most important one is obviously it's trying to be unopinionated because we cannot dictate how the agents are implemented, right? So for the standard of the agent communication protocol, we really need to assume that agent can be pretty much anything. So don't put too much opinions in the standard. And also the important one is kind of progressive enhancement, starting from very simple use, meaning if you want to talk to the agent, you just do typical simple HTTP request and you get a response. But if you need more advanced features, you go with the SSE or you move towards with awaits. And at some point, we are still discussing whether the concept of WebSockets would fit actually in the scenarios of agents talking to each other. So I'm very quickly gonna go actually over here. There is an open API spec. So whoever wants to deep down into how the endpoints and how the standard kind of looks like today. And I'm still mentioning it's early draft, so everything there is open for discussion. You can do that from here. Also, we have in the menu on the left sidebar, you can see the API reference documented here. So for example, if you go in agent detail, here on the right, you can see what are the metadata, for example, that's associated with the agent for the discoverability. So there is some new things for the folks who are familiar with our pre-alpha version. There is new fields, for example, natural languages. In what languages, which pretty much means in what languages the agent can talk. There is some new field use cases that are supposed to explain in what use cases, typical use cases, this agent is good for. And there is, for example, the field for the author, who are the contributors, links, which pretty much link back to this original kind of, where is the source code of this agent, but you can also link back to the container images. And there is new field dependencies, so you can define whether the agent has dependencies on the tool or it has dependencies on other agents, and also recommended models. as everyone who is building agents, you start with usually with one model, and then you maybe expand to multiple. And this move kind of is supposed to kind of allow the authors of the agents to say, I can guarantee that the agent works well under these models. So that's kind of an agent detail. If you want to communicate with the agent, you do it through the run method. And the payload is actually very simple. You just specify agent name. You can specify session ID. That's actually optional only, and it only works for the agents that are stateful. So that actually requires a specific implementation on the agent side. Not all agents are stateful. And you specify your input. And then probably the most important thing is the mode parameter, where by default it's a synchronous call. So that means you get a typical request response. You do a request and you get an HTTP response. You can specify async, which means you get an ID of the run. And then you can, using the get run endpoint, you can get the output of the run later on. And then the last mode is stream. So you can actually get all the data streamed through the SSE. So that's a create run, get run. We talked about it very quickly. And then we have two more kind of endpoints. One of them is cancel run. That's for the asynchronous, requests which are long running and you need to cancel them. And then we have a resume run, which is for the awaits. That's how you communicate back to the agent after you, kind of interrupt or do the function calling with the required data that the agent needs to proceed with the execution. So that's kind of in a nutshell, very quickly. Again, as I said, everything is in draft, so don't be afraid to give us feedback. Tell us whether this fulfills your needs for agentic systems. And if not, let us know what use cases you would like us to support. And I'm going to end on the note that we have the SDK in a very alpha version, but it's ready to be tested. And I think in the next upcoming days, we will release it to you. So that's it from me, and I'll give it back to Ismail.
Cool. Okay. After to have the review from Matos, the next part is continues to open the discussion with all the community. The idea that we did weeks ago was open discussions in GitHub. We start to collect information. We try to grouping all this information. We try to create some work streams to be sure that we cover everything that was in the discussions in GitHub. And now it's time to continue to figure out how we can organize all this content and the collaboration with all the community. For that, I'm connected with some of the comments from Matos. We have obviously open. You saw, we opened the discussions in our IMB organization. In the discussions, you saw that there were a very good amount of interaction with a lot of people. We try to organize all of these interactions in some key areas or streams, and you can see that there are people that want to contribute or was contributing, okay, in these discussions, okay. And our next steps is take all of this information and again go to GitHub, like one of our main platforms. We open this public repository that is ACP. We open some documents that try to cover all of these work streams, and now the idea is with the community start to continue to have the discussions, but now it's like more focusing how start to contribute in these areas or in these concepts. Again, I invite to all of you to participate, to start to contribute. The workflow that we want to keep is we are going to have some open discussions, obviously, in the discussion level, okay? I go to to open the same things, the same document that you see here, okay, like discussions, and to keep and tracking all the discussions. Part of these discussions are going to be write down as part of this documentation. Again, the idea is to have this open effort in all the community, and any contribution that you see that you can add, is welcome. You can contribute in the documentation, you can contribute in the SDK that Matos commented that is in alpha. Everything that, again, from the community point of view, you think that you can add is perfect. No? Remember that the BeeAI project is part of the Linux Foundation in this moment. Again, this is complete community driving. Again, we are looking for continues to enable this collaboration from our side. The team that is here is going to continue to work in the open source tools like the platform or the framework. But again, it's like community. This is for you. It's like you want to contribute. This is the best way to do it. Remember also that we have, and that is something that you are going to find here, we have also a Discord, okay, that you can use for more real-time questions, okay. I think that for me is more or less done. The point now is open some discussions with all of you, with the community, no? Starting also to try to figure out if first, is like what is the feedback about the community. If you think that it's comfortable to continue to use the discussions here, plus the repositories to start to contribute in the final specification, in the evolution of this specification and the standardization. Again, I don't know if someone in this moment have any question. We can pause here and get some questions from you. And after that, we can open some discussions in some of the key things that we believe that is critical for the community. Anyone? I see something. Yeah. Okay. Matthias, you can talk directly, or I need to allow me? Okay. Matthias, can you chat?
I can. Yes, I can. My question is, what is the way to contribute? Maybe I am thinking on write code, basically on or validate ideas, and maybe I don't know if it is possible to create issues and set the priority and assign in your side the issues in some moment.
Yeah, in fact, you are going to see the part of the plan. Again, happy to have your feedback. Is from one side, we are going to work in the ACP repository for work and contributing the SDK, okay, and in the documentation and the specification. You have the BeeAI like a main part of the platform that is where we can test and play with all these features, okay, that are going to be implemented from the ACP here, but are going to be adopted in this platform that again is open source. And you have also the frameworks. Obviously, you have other repositories, but again, it's like you can open any issue in any place that you need it.
One suggestion is also, I think that it's more easy, at least for me, validate some ideas with real cases or trying to simulate real cases.
Yeah.
And I know that maybe if we put real cases in the main repository, we are introducing noise. So maybe it's good to have a repository with some examples that try to represent real cases or real scenarios to validate if the things are working. Basically.
Is if the scenario and everything, example, is related with the ACP, it's possible that can be interesting to have some examples here, folder, or have some document that is the link to your specific user cases to be sure that the community have access to all these user cases. Yeah.
Okay. In my side, for example, what I am trying to do is there is a moment right now that is all the people is trying to create AI first things, patients, basically.
Yeah.
And basically the idea is try to take human workflows, actually workflows that you are making with software, but try to start to do some steps or some tasks with agents. And I think that is a good way to think in real cases, basically scenarios where nowadays only humans are doing the task. And also I know that there are new scenarios that are for AI only, that maybe we can set one or two from each case.
Yeah, sure. And I don't know if Matos or other from the team, we are working also in have some like a catalog of the agents that also can be interesting, good place to add there your experiments or your projects. No, obviously we are thinking how we can have some kind of validation methods or something like that. Obviously to avoid that in this, at least in this catalog, everyone can put random things. But again, it's like if you are part of the community and you contribute in the community, I am sure that you are going to have all the green lights to participate and add your experiments here. From the other side, like we commented, no, I am sure that from the community point of view, it's like we can put some folder about the samples or create some kind of awesome list of the projects. Yeah, it's like happy to add these things to the next feature that we need to add in the repository and help you to expose ideas.
Yes, and the last thing, okay, I think that is very valuable and it's very interesting. Try to create examples that are using more than one agent. That is not only one agent that is doing something. Because I think the real power of ACP is how well we can use several agents together.
Yeah, 100%. I think that this is the next big thing that demonstrate the ACP and the rest of the things. No, yeah, and more complex scenarios. No, it's like thinking a tree of agents that one agent need to delegate to other. Is like, and what is the part of the discussion? No, if all of you remember part of the discussion that we had. Okay, let me open here. Part of the discussion that we have is obviously the challenge that we need to cover from the architectural point of view, the deployment, but also the data security, no, and how we communicate, no, implementing coding and other things. Yeah, but yes, yeah, makes sense.
Yes, yes, yes. I believe that is the way because you realize of the real problem and the real solution that you need doing that. Yes. Okay, that is all from my side.
Thank you.
I am going to read the code and contribute.
Okay. Thank you. Again, thinking that the code was very alpha, it's try to cover some of the needs that we have in the platform. Again, remember, ACP coming from this starting work, the initial work that we create for the framework and the platform, and in the moment that when we try to connect with different frameworks, different agents, we start to find these problems is when we open the discussion to the community. Okay, but yeah, please contribute, go and okay. Let me jump to the next one, Alex. I think that you have your hand.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. Hey, I didn't necessarily have a question. I just wanted to introduce myself. I feel like it's much easier to talk when well, it's more of a community that way, right? First of all, thanks for organizing the community call. I've been deep diving into the BeeAI ecosystem over the past few weeks. I've got to play around with the TypeScript ACP SDK you guys have on NPM. It's pretty interesting. I see that we've also seen the limitations that they have with the environment and the different languages and SDKs impacting like things that shouldn't be impacted, like abstractions for agents. And so just a bit of context on me. I'm Alex Andrew. I'm tech lead at Impulse and Ventures. We're a small like boutique shop and venture capital fund as well, based out of LA. But most recently, I've been working on the MCP framework, and I am the community manager for Model Context Protocol Reddit and community-driven Discords as well. I wanted to say that I think we're very uniquely positioned here with the Agent Context Protocol, because there's a lot of frameworks for agents, Llama Index, there's the Pydantic guys have now joined and are doing it, LangChain, and a few patterns, like common patterns, have emerged across these different frameworks over time. But to get to those patterns, they've had to add a lot of complexity and a lot of random things to their frameworks in order to get there. We have the opportunity to start with a very complex and novel topic, right? This hasn't been attempted before, but we can do this with a clean slate. And from knowing the MCP core team, they're currently like suffering a lot from, there's been a lot of buzz, but they were not fully prepared. They released the specification update without SDK updates. From the day they got tons of hype, and now you got the situation where people want to try it, people are ready to throw engineers at it and be like, yeah, let's implement MCP, but it's not production ready, it's not enterprise ready, it doesn't have full HTTP support. So I think there's a real opportunity here. And additionally, one thing that could position this very well is the opportunity to get like real feedback, real enterprise case user stories that will answer a lot of these questions, right? Like, what should we use, stateless or stateful? It really depends on the user. MCP took an opinion on that with going with one thing and kind of enforcing that thing. Now they're reverting on that, and they're trying to open up as many ways for trying to do that. But in doing that, they added a lot of complexity to the documentation and to everything around. So I just wanted to give a little optimistic pitch about this, because I think with the correct framing from the beginning, if we take enterprise user cases, we can actually build something that comes from what users need, not from like random ideas. And yeah, like what they did was totally fine. This is the normal way of how things are developed, but I think we have the opportunity to look into what people actually need at scale. So yeah, very excited to deep dive. I'll see you guys probably on these calls and on Discord.
Sound perfect. Yeah, that is part of the direction. No? Obviously, we need to understand that we coming from working researching IBM research, but it's IBM also. It's an enterprise company that's try to make things that impacting the enterprise in the business. No, yeah, perfect. Yeah, I love it, your comment. Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay. Please, Maysip. I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Hey everybody,
yeah.
Sorry, it's my pseudonym. It's Mac EIP, okay. Like extended instruction partner. Thanks for the intro and appreciate all the work you guys are pushing on. Cool to see the website with the ACP sections. Just one high level question and then maybe a procedural one. One of the things that I'd be interested to understand is like, is there someone that BeeAI thinks that's strategic to bring into this spec or protocol that would help get adoption? You know, like, I don't know if you guys are talking to other large, like, I don't know anyone on this call. I'm just like an individual developer to startup, but like, is there any large companies, or how could we help bring in bigger companies to try to get this beyond just like an IBM BeeAI startup spec that nobody uses? I don't want to get that XKCD thing of like, we got a new spec and now there's like specs plus one the support. So just a question on that. I didn't maybe wasn't in your early planning discussions. And then two, like I am on this, I volunteered to be on the security and data privacy like working group, or you're calling it like a stream or something. And so maybe the questions aren't relevant here. Are there specific follow-ups for those people, or should I ask a question about that here? I'm not sure.
Let me see if Kate or but for the first question, Kate, okay, for the interact with others, if we have conversation with others.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second.
Yeah, so we've got inbound from a couple, I mean, being IBM is, so we've got inbound from a couple of the other like larger companies, and we're going to be engaging. We've had a couple smaller companies that are working in this space. I wouldn't kind of in startup to mid-range, asking, you know, to contribute developers. So we're kind of taking those conversations offline, but I think absolutely that's going to be pretty critical to the effort.
My CEO, like just a quick context, my CEO is like, what the heck is ACP? Why are we doing this? And I'm trying to convince them of that. Obviously we're a startup, and so we move a little faster maybe than some other companies, but what would help is like having any kind of like, to be quite frank, like off of your website, having like some kind of page that looks like it's not branded like a startup that explains ACP. Because I think that's like you're gonna not pass the smell test for some people. That's just some random feedback, not that you asked. But yeah, I think. And then at this meetup I met you guys at some event in SF. There was like 5 ACP protocols, or not. They're not calling themselves ACP, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, this is just like tough to allocate time and invest when there's so much noise.
Yeah. No, in fact, we start open conversation with Agentic and others agencies, sorry, to try to combine all this effort. No?
Oh yeah, you guys. That's just thank you for reminding me. That was one of the ones in my head I couldn't remember. Like they have AGNCY or something .org or something.
Exactly.
So we've had discussions with a bunch of them. So there's like mechanisms going on trying to drive some of the stuff together. But
good. So you guys have someone trying to hopefully like corral the cats maybe and get them to all combine. Hopefully.
I mean, I think adoption is going to be what like the proof is going to be in the pudding with adoption. So that's why we're kind of taking this feature-driven, community-driven approach.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
well, let me know what I can do to help. I'm a startup. I don't know how Anthropic MCP stuff blew up because it was kind of dormant for a while, and all of a sudden, like late December, it just blew up. I don't know if they just paid a bunch of money, but if you need help, let me know. Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect.
So Alex, did you raise your hand or?
Oh no, I'm just showing that it did in fact blow up.
Oh yeah, that was the trajectory.
Sponsor everybody. I think OpenAI did a lot to post that.
About security.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to wrap for me, like like the security and privacy questions probably not relevant for this call, but is there like a follow-up I should be paying attention to, or just on async on that?
Yeah, it's relevant. No, it's one of the key components that we want to continue to have in discussion. In fact, we have people here, no, that is working in help to us to define like to work from the point of view of the take care about the security.
Yeah, so we're definitely interested in any of the security aspects around agents. So there are ones. So I was probably interested in that. Ian Malloy, I am a principal research staff member at IBM, and I oversee some of our global efforts around GenAI security, specifically agents. I also kind of run the AI Alliance Focal Area 2 on security working group, and one of the co-leads of the Coalition for Secure AI group on agentic design patterns and security. So there's lots of topics there. It's a pretty loaded topic, anything from supply chain, identity, sandbox.
Oh yeah, sorry, just I meant in the context of ACP specifically, like security is a very broad.
That's why I was wondering. Yeah. So we're starting to
I wanted to bring up 2 quick concepts, or just to see if you guys have covered it. Like this concept of like remote attestation, like if people do use confidential VMs or TEs, the protocol that people use to actually, like, before I do a TLS handshake, how do I know that the attestation you're giving me is signed by Intel and it's actually from you? That's not really related to ACP directly, because no one's figured that out. There's like HTTPA and like RATLS. Just want to make sure that's on your radar. People are talking about it. People are trying to blend some blockchain initiatives in, some mostly for logging to like where's your attestations live. And then secondly, the authorization header stuff. MCP is like in their off era now, you could say, with their like Microsoft Entra being very deep into the MCP spec with their www authenticate header requests, but just something for the group to think about. To me, as a developer and a user, like my agents running around with my OAuth tokens doesn't sit right with me. Like those are my tokens, not theirs. Yes, I can give them to them, and I'm not suggesting a new spec or anything. I was just thinking through, has anyone suggested, or like, there's not a good HTTP header to use for that actually, but just bear like a concept of like taking like something like privacy pass, where there's like a blinded key that's unblinded and then can be used elsewhere to prove a set inclusion, or like that you're not part of a different set, just for like agents to run around. I don't know if anyone has thought through like ACP, how you like if there's any header authorization talk that's out of OAuth 2.1. Like I don't want to get into the OIDC land of Microsoft Entra, but like something very specific. Like I can prove that this agent can selectively disclose that it's my agent using something like VOPRF or something. I just want to bring that up. That's it. Thanks.
No, I definitely think we should look at standardizing this and
Yeah.
seeing what it should look like. I know we're looking at a couple of notions around, I mean, delegation is one of the things we want to see, but also agentic identity. And I know there's a lot of work on things like DIDs as well. We could also see if those would work out, and what else is kind of in the standard. So
with the DID quagmire, that's going to be like a 2-year process for you guys to figure out UCAN and DIDs, and that whole spec is a nightmare. I just want something simple that I can just use that makes sense, and just OAuth tokens are not for my agent to be running around using without me knowing. And like, that's just my thought on that. Although I'll use them. It's easy. Click, click, click.
Yeah.
So,
Part of the delegation are going to be very like big discussion.
Yeah, that'll be a whole working group for 7 years probably. So maybe I don't want to drag ACP into the dirt with that shit, because I want you guys to be successful, but I just want you to at least think about those two concepts, because those are more like /server /attestation /identity that's not in there yet, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, a part of it as well is also just not providing, even if you do use OAuth 2 tokens, don't provide them directly to the agents, because then once the agents get compromised, they call out their tokens. So there are the ways that we're looking at for doing that. So, but we're
exactly. Like again, like there's really simple tools now with simple crypto to like prove you have the token without giving the token away, kind of thing.
Yeah, and then proof of possession is a part
of it. You guys think that's in scope for ACP, or is that not? That's too deep into the specific. That's a specific header thing. That'll like split people apart.
Is for the starting can be very deep, but at least it's good to have these discussions, okay, at the beginning, to try to shape and put some boundaries, okay, and see what is the direction that we can take. No, like you said, no, it's possible that at the beginning we need to find some very easy way to try to cover part of the problem. But yeah, it's like in the moment that my intuition is, if this works, every time are going to be worse. No, because are going to be.
I guess I'm actually going to retract in like my statement, because MCP was successful only because it needed all those components. Like this ACP does not need some fancy new agent delegation token or even T attestation to be successful to start. So I'll just shut up about that. I'll put it in your discussion on your GitHub
but because again, that is part of the discussion, no? And thank you, because there are a lot of people that try to use this, and security and trust in the protocol and trust in the agents are going to be critical. No, how we are going to do that? Yeah,
I do think the TE thing will split the whole community, because everyone has their stupid vendor-specific solution for attestations, like Intel Tiber and blah blah blah. But the potential like auth token thing is like a place where you could rally people. There's no like vendor that's doing blinded OAuth tokens, right? It's just something that people could use that already have OAuth tokens. So that's maybe what I would lean in a little bit that way. That's it. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
No, thank you to you. Okay, thank you. The next one is Basit. Or is it?
Yeah, Basit, you got it right on the first attempt. This is rare. Especially, where I am in the States, you get a lot of funny pronunciation. Anyway, my name is Basit. I'm the CTO at Procurement Sciences, a vertical AI in GovCon. That's less important than kind of I raise my hand to kind of piggyback off of some of the off questions. And I don't want to steer the discussion too much towards that. I think it was a healthy discussion, something that's probably going to happen in back channel, but mentioning resources, my primary motivation for getting involved, of course, is a little selfish, a little fun, ex-IBMer, so I love seeing the project. The way this organizes reminded me of a lot of work that collaborations at IBM Research and stuff, so it's a soft spot in my heart. But financially speaking, look, we have teams right now that are trying to solve a lot of these problems in isolation, and would like to start to get them involved in that process. And open source at least going to contribute back the baseline core of our work, because we're working in NIST 800 and 171 compliant environments, which are relatively strict from a security perspective, but also from a definition perspective in system design. There's a lot of formalism there. So I guess my question first is a kind of an offer of like, we're solving a lot of these problems in isolation, and I don't want my team solving these problems in isolation. I thought I'd come here first to kind of get a sense for how can I bring my team members who are solving the stuff internally. We're currently LangGraph platform based, self-hosting that runtime, and have kind of drank some of that early Kool-Aid on the thread model. And we've written our own checkpointers even to kind of solve some of those security issues, to push down that stuff down to like the S3 level. And then, Minio is integrated with an identity provider to try to do some things that are interesting that way. Of course, we're happy to collaborate on those things. But what is the best way for me to engage resources? Because I'm fine spending my time as a CTO doing this, broader, more nebulous discussions. I can justify that. What if I'm going to bring a dev in who I'm keeping at 3 to 4 hour, tickets, making sure that they're very efficient? I want to make sure that there's really, really good things that I can time bound it, and they never come to a stand up and say, hey, I went and burned a half day doing open source contributions. So we're kind of like, I feel like BeeAI is in that middle phase where there's enough definition right now. We got, okay, you're going to do it, but what are those? Is it just getting good first issues that I can go throw at my devs and say, hey, you were working this in our internal release train anyway. This dovetails really well with a first issue. Has that process been done? How can I help, or anyone like me in this group help codify that? Because I imagine other people like me who are ready to bring resources and have been solving problems, and it's a win-win. I'll probably solve my problem faster by collaborating through BeeAI as that kind of collaboration plane at some level.
Yeah, I don't know if Matos, you want to add something more from the contribution point of view.
No, I mean, this is very good feedback, right? And we just joined the Linux Foundation recently, so we are in a lot of kind of process changing every single day now. But yeah, definitely, I saw it in the comments as well. We will put in the first, the labels pretty much. That's the easiest thing for us, right? Be very specific about the issues that we know needs solving, and labeling them properly so you guys get a better idea where you can contribute. And I understand, the time bounding of these tasks is important. So that comes back to being able to describe exactly what needs to happen, right? So working on these issues, that's providing proper description of the problem and of the solution. And if we don't know the solution, probably starting the discussion with the community.
That'd be great. And I'll volunteer myself to help. Obviously, I'm not just going to sit here and try and tell other people to do it. More than happy to with whatever time I can allocate to it, help with that. And the other part is also legal. I imagine that there is a contributing.md I should go read. Since this is an IBM and I think what Linux Foundation, so I think we should have, probably a pretty clear path on that, right? Anything you think that would be a gotcha that hasn't been solved there before I go bringing people in?
Oh, I cannot think of anything at this moment, to be honest. I would be just guessing very quickly and wouldn't give it proper thought. But I would say give us a couple of days and check out the issues in GitHub.
Yeah.
Maybe we can sling it to Discord once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And FYI, I'm 24601 on GitHub, so you can link a person in real life with a GitHub page.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so it's all good. It's perfect. Okay, cool. Thank you a lot. Thank you for your passion and contribute again to the community. I love it. Any other question? We have some minutes left. Any other way to? No? Okay, in that case, let me make a recap. But and it's connected with most of the discussion that we have today, in the sense that first is like thank you again to all of the community to participate. Second is like for contribute again. You have the new repository. Okay, this new repository, thinking that it's more focused in the SDK and in the specification of the protocol, documentation, all of that. Anything that you need to contribute here, please jump directly and start to contribute. Again, thinking that everything here is draft. Okay, we are very clear with this, and alpha is a community effort. I'm happy to see your nicknames around. From the other side, you want to start to experiment with things that we have done and more mature. You can play with the platform. Okay, that again is the idea. We want to integrate anything that is ACP like part of one of the main concepts in this platform, but also in this platform you can find other things. No, happy that you add contribution there. Remember, we have in the repository, we have the discussions. We are going to open discussions per the key work streams that we have. Again, architecture and the core part of the protocol, deployment and infrastructure, data security and privacy that we discussed now today, protocol implementations and encoding is how improve the communication and methods to improve this communication between agents, testing quality, MCP integration and compatibility, because we saw the opportunity to continue to add more and grow with the MCP community too. And also something that is very interesting and important for us is also have the interaction between the human and the agents and between agents too. No, part of these discussions, okay, can be dry for some of you. This is the contributors that contribute in the last weeks, but happy to put your name here. I go to be sure that I can point you in any of these discussions and be sure that at the end you can contribute in the best way that you can do. I think that's most of the thing that I have to say today. I don't know if Kate, do you want to say something? Yeah.
GeneNet, because I have a previous life doing fiber arts as well as genetics. But so I was on that last work stream, and we, in previous iterations of this project, we had a full stack that included an end user experience. And what surprised us is how much when we took that away, we did a moment of creative destruction, how upset developers were, not the business users, but developers. So I have a working hypothesis that the concept that the ACP will enable composable user interfaces, right? That there's some future in which you could actually just read the agent definition and be able to compose a user interface that had not just, I'll give an example of it, even a simple chat agent would have user message, agent message, but it would also have potentially trajectory or train of thought, source citations. You could have an artifact. There are these components that you could maybe plug and play depending on the type of agent, whether it's, conversational, multi-turn, single turn, et cetera. So I just wanted to put that out there and test that hypothesis like lightly with kind of a show of hands, and maybe the hand raise isn't right. Like, is that of value? Are we all just embedding these agents in our own end system? So this is totally, would it be, do you care about the interface? Do you care about the ability to layer your own interface on easily? That kind of question. I just want to put to the group.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually an area where we're building features. So what we did is I mean, we built an entire UI framework to take master detail patterns and turn it to master detail filter based on published data types and structures of our agents, so we wouldn't be rebuilding user interfaces. And generative UI wasn't advanced enough, and I don't think still is, to automate that. So by all means, that was actually one of our primary areas of friction. I can still apply plenty of developers and relatively, probably lower in the food chain developers who are cheaper and more available to building the agents. It's delivering that, because we're a vertical, we're a vertical company. That was our primary area of friction, both technically, in terms of choosing one of the alphabet soup frameworks out there on the front end, doing the state management, getting consistency and getting scale. And then also on the business side, like that's where the value, like it's like a huge amount of value of how do I connect this for now, at least, because there's still a human in the loop, or a vision model function on behalf of a human in the loop, perhaps is the way I should say that even. I think that's actually core to the problem area for a large part of the economy. Not everybody. I'm not going to try to speak for everyone, but I think where you see a lot of it, I was at one of our investors' conferences, and all the conversations ended up coming there as a friction point for a lot of the fellow portcos.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you.
Cool. Any other comment? Questions? No? Okay, I think that for finalize, let me again invite you to go to the GitHub and also to the Discord. I go to be very active the rest of the week, okay, to be sure that we can organize the work streams, okay, to have some people that can lead part of these discussions. We can have some kind of 30 minutes past meeting in 2 weeks from now, or in 1 week in Discord, depending of the pulse of the community, and use that Discord, okay, to have some kind of fast rounds, okay, to discuss some of these key points and start to see how we can implement the specification, and after the final implementation in the SDK and go ahead. Okay, make sense? Okay. Thank you. In that case, you have 8 minutes more to do other things. Okay. Thank you.
It was great meeting everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for hosting.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it, guys. Thanks.
Love it. Bye. Thanks.